And we've got 3 minutes to Mr. Angus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Massingham did not testify at the UK committee, correct? And he's not here today because you stated the last time you were here, quote, "We saw no evidence of any coordination between the two campaigns in the UK." And yet we have the Believe hard drive folder where your colleague Zach Massingham is not here. He's in this folder along with the senior representatives of the Vote Leave staff. So he would have seen that there was coordination because they were in the Believe folder. Were you aware that Mr. Massingham had that knowledge?
So when you say he was aware that they were in the folder, what I think you're talking about is the permissions of who could access the folder.
Yeah.
When you click on a link, you don't get to see who has access to it. You just see the files that are there.
So he wouldn't know that within the folder. I mean, you guys are tech gurus. You're getting
right,
paid
but we
big
weren't
bucks.
administrators.
You wouldn't be aware that the Vote Leave people were in the Believe folder.
You wouldn't. So when you click a link, and I don't know if you've used tools like Dropbox or anything like that before, when you click a link, it opens up the folder and shows you the files that you as an individual have access to. That's all Mr. Massingham would have seen when he clicked on that link.
So he was never aware, because Shamir Sani, who was the front face for Believe, has come out as a whistleblower and said that it was a front and that it was illegal. Mark Gettleson, who was one of the coordinators of Vote Leave, has come out and said that what they did was coordinated and illegal. Your colleague who's not here was in the same same Google Drive with the key people on the Vote Leave, which would have suggested a coordination. He's talking about getting money. He's not here to answer that. What you know now, would you say that if you knew what Mr. Massingham known, that you might have thought that what you were doing was illegal?
So you've made a number of statements there that we've talked about already that I've described exactly how it happened.
It's just that the key people on the campaign have come out and said this was coordinated, and the coordination link is Aggregate IQ, because you're the one who's placing the ads. They're set up. There's a pro forma constitution to set up a committee. That was in the Google Drive. Were you aware of that as well?
No. Well,
okay.
We've seen some media reports of it now, but not at the time.
So you get $600K in the final 10 days. Mr. Massingham, who's not here to answer this, is talking about where to get the money from. It's going to come from Vote Leave. You know, I don't want to keep circling around and around because Mr. Massingham could probably give us a nice, clear explanation. But don't you think that the questions of it being illegal become very obvious to a lot of people, everyone it seems except Aggregate IQ? And then we go back to Mr. Wiley, who said that you laughed and said, yes, of course it was totally illegal. So you're protected by parliamentary privilege here, Mr. Sylvester. Why don't you just tell us, given all you've seen, don't you think that there's an obvious impression that this could have been illegal and Aggregate IQ could have been the connecting link?
So with respect to parliamentary privilege, I also swore an oath, and in my last testimony when I was here last time, I also behaved as if I had. So I can only tell you the truth. And when we were working with Believe, we had no indication and saw no evidence that there was any coordination. With respect to other information that's come out now, all of that information and more has been given to the Electoral Commission.
Okay, but when Facebook wrote to the UK committee, contrary to your testimony, they said our investigations to date have found that there was a data file custom audience, one website custom audience, and one lookalike audience that were used to select targeting criteria for potential ads during this period by both Vote Leave and Believe pages. Don't you think if Facebook says that the same data sets were being used on both campaigns, that it goes back to Aggregate IQ having used that?
That particular issue I described earlier in detail with Mr. Erskine-Smith and in my opening statement. While they existed for a period of time, they were never used, and I thought I explained that fully.
So we are out of time for